Hi, you might have just caught the end of that. Somebody's phone was going off. Good evening and welcome to the IBD Ostomy Support Show. Tonight we are talking about to name or not to name your stoma. We've also had a video go up on YouTube where we decided to reluctantly interview the kids over the weekend and through the week. The outtakes will be going up after this, but the outtakes are actually longer than the video edit that we did for the questions. So that will be going up. So I'm Louise. I'm known as Crohn's Fighting. This week I have walked more than a marathon in the last 3 days. I've covered nearly, 27 miles, I think I've managed Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday.
You're breaking into ultra marathon territory there, Lynn.
I'm breaking into marathon territory. I surely am.
Ultra marathon. Anything
ultra
over
marathon. Yeah. I have sunburn. I have blisters on one foot. What else? Yeah, so if any of you can give me any hints and tips about starting jogging back up with osteoarthritis, I would love to hear what your points of view would be about doing that, because my hips hurt and trying to jog at the moment is dicey. And the lovely
cod liver oil's a good start. No, but it is. I'm telling you.
What else I've been up to this week? That's about it. I've been pretty boring this week. Oh, it's happy 6-month anniversary to Bertha today. Yay!
Yay.
Little bugger's been with me. Yeah, little bugger's been with me 6 months. If she leaks tonight, I will not be impressed. But I'm going to pass you over to Steffi now.
Hi, I'm Steffi at Colitis Ostomy. I've had a pretty uneventful week, really, other than being dragged into the NAF hospital for a blood test that is about 4 to 6 miles away, and I could have had it in the village. Just to be told I didn't need an infusion anyway, because they're clever like that. Being at the beach today, I turned off all notifications on my phone, which was glorious, and found the best cafe ever. I love anything to do with like World War II and then like the 50s. I like the 50s as well because the 50s are fun. And it was just awesome. The food was just outstanding. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to like recreate everything because it was just so good. So that's about it, really. Yeah, no. So I'm going to pass you over to Natalie.
Hiya. Well, I'm still not well. The last few days I've had really bad fatigue, but then go to bed at night and can't sleep. So today I went to the doctor. I've not changed anything really, but she said some of my new meds might be causing it. So we're just going to see how they go for a couple more weeks. What else have I done? The kids had their assemblies, like end of half-term assemblies. They both got a certificate and Riley got a badge, so that was really good.
Nice.
What else have I done? Yeah, not a lot really. Just like I say, I've been so tired. I've got rheumatology appointment tomorrow. I did have an eye appointment a couple of days ago, but I ended up having to cancel it because I just felt awful. But I've got to go rheumatology tomorrow. Get that sorted. Supposed to be having my hair done today, but didn't get that done either because I've literally dropped the kids off, went to the doctor's, grabbed some bread, got home and slept until 2 o'clock. So, but fingers crossed I'll still get to sleep tonight. And I think that's about it. Yeah. Pretty boring.
Well, I'm Rachel, Rocking Two Stomas, and I've literally just got in like 5 minutes ago. We raced through the traffic just for being at barbecue, and I've been trying to listen to the girls and not do so much this week. So I have slowed it down a little bit and cancelled a few people. But we've been at the beach all day today, so that was lovely. And yeah, just went to barbecue. My health is I'm still struggling with fatigue. Waking up, I'm sleeping good. I'm sleeping well, like 6 hours, but I wake up 2 times in the night, but I'm just finding I'm waking up more exhausted, and it's about the 10th day on the trot now, I'm more exhausted, and it's apparently my GP just says it's the kidney failure because I'm on verge of stage 4 kidney failure, and it's just part of, but it's frustrating because I'm waking up and I have to try and dance to get moving because the thought of all the stuff I've got to do in a day just makes me want to cry. But yeah, so we haven't really done too much. We had one of my partner's best mate passed away about 3 weeks ago, so we had the memorial Saturday, so that was a nice way to say goodbye. But yeah, I haven't really done too much trying to slow it down.
There's a reason why she's trying to slow it down. It's like she said she's doing too much. She's actually inspired like a group post for the entire month of June, where if anyone has done the UAP in the beginning, in front of one of Jamie Oliver's books a couple of years ago, it's very similar to Instagram. You have like a micro action that's supposed to take like basically, and all of us are rolling that out as of next Thursday. Everyone like be posting about it on Wednesday with everyone's picks. Louise can be hated because she's picked everything to do with move.
That's because I'm a fidget and I can't sit still.
So hopefully everyone can take part in that. It's going to be under the hashtag Ostomy Love. And it's basically inspired because Rachel does too damn much. Like, she literally just does too much, doesn't stop at all. And the rest of us being mums, we know we have to stop. Rachel's like swanning about here, there and everywhere. So
we've decided to do Love Yourself Ostomy Love June. Well, Steffi was the idea, but Rachel was the premise behind it.
Thank you.
And yeah, I might have picked all the moving ones. Guess who picked the food? The cleaning. So yeah, that's being rolled out next week. So we've rolled out about the to name or not to name your stoma, and I believe some of us have differing views because I know that 3 of us have named them and 1 of us hasn't. So your reasons as to why you didn't name Steffi?
Because it's weird. If I'm honest, I just don't. It's part of me. I don't have a name for my toes. I don't have a name for my elbow. It just doesn't make sense to me. I remember either before or after my surgery, my partner in crime was sat in the bed opposite, and I was like, "Have you named yours?" And she was like, "No." I'm like, "Good, thank God I'm not like," because everyone seems to, and like some of the names, like I tried my very best to put them all in alphabetical order, which was an absolute chore, and I will never do that again. So, but some of them are absolutely amazing, and I was in absolute stitches. Like I did the urostomy ones this morning, and I was just reading them out to Stephen, and I was just like, oh my God. And it does make me think sometimes, should I have named it? But I still just, it's no.
I don't know, it's like,
I appreciate it helps people, but I don't feel like I ever needed that. So it's not a dig. If you've named it, fantastic. Go, do what you need to do, but not for me. No.
I think for me, I mean, I named it anyway, but I found it really helped with the kids accepting it. The boys have really taken to the name Stanley. They talk about Stanley. We do have issues when Riley, especially my 5-year-old, meets somebody called Stanley. My auntie's neighbour, bless her, she's really lovely, and my auntie had him one day, and they'd gone to the shops, and she was buying a game, and he was like, "Oh, I like that game," and she said, "Oh, I've brought it for my grandson." She said, "Stanley," and he was like, apparently lifted her top up in the middle of B&M and was like, "But you don't have a Stanley, Sally. What are you talking about?" And I was just like, oh God.
Or a bear, Stoma-wise do Osto bears, and I think there's like Buttony bears and all sorts, and they have stomas and they have a little bag, and you get them with Ace stomas, and that's what I did. I just got her a bear because seriously, the naming, it's just like it's loads of people have done it. You 3, you've all done it, and Nick, when Nick's on, she's done it as well.
I think it depends. I think it depends like, I don't know why I started naming mine. I think mine was Mr. Digby to start with, but when I first had the ileostomy, I was having so many problems that was too long to say. So then Bob the Knob was born, and then it's just kind of stuck. But how everybody talks about Bob, I sit and I just think even Molly, and it's kind of, yeah, it does help sort of for other people talking, but I think it goes much deeper than me. I think for me, I do encourage like any new ostomates to name, because I think it does help the psychological in sort of accepting it and loving it and joking and adding humour to it. And that's I suppose that's just my view. But I have seen some people that I know that have struggled accepting the stomas haven't named it, and especially talking about the urostomates. Like when I put it out across the group, there were a few people that were still struggling, weren't naming their stomas. But it's a personal choice. But I get what you're saying, Steffi. Like a few people have said that, you know, you wouldn't name a toe or a finger or whatever. So why name part of you?
Stephen said I referred to my stoma in the third person. So I guess in a sense that's just naming it, but because you're still referring to it as its own entity.
Yeah.
So it's probably exactly the same thing. I just haven't called it. I don't know.
I think I like as well talking about it in the third person as you do, or naming it. It's sort of easier to get angry at it, and
yes.
So when it's playing up, like Stanley gets called shitbag, and I find that easier to deal with. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, sorry, it's just that one of the lads called their stomas shitbag.
But yeah, I find it easier to get angry at it when I think of it as not part of me, almost, if that makes sense. Because otherwise I'd be getting angry at myself, and I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does, but I didn't name my J pouch. I didn't name my intestines, although Weston the intestine was one of the best names I've read by far. Along with Poopsaurus Rex and Penelope Poop and things like that. They were just amazing. In fact, I was waiting for Theresa May to come up, but somebody called it.
Yeah, we was seriously gutted that one didn't pop up, and the other one I was gutted about was Pepe Le Pew. Oh my god, I did actually put a shout out at one point on Instagram saying if anybody has named their stoma Pepe Le Pew, please come, you will make my month.
And high five to everyone that's called their stoma Donald Trump. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
hands down.
That's a good one.
But it's like you say about.
I didn't want to name. I didn't name my other body parts when they were screwing me over. So
No, I get that, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. The first one I had, I didn't name. It just used to get referred to as the bastard when it used to kick off, and
that was his name.
Particularly beastly bastard. Yeah, but I didn't always refer to it as bastard. I didn't go and say bastard just leaked. Oh, I need to go to the toilet. I used to say I'm having issues. I need to go to the toilet. And I think with Maisie being the age that she is as well, I think naming it was just a bit easier than having to constantly go, I'm going to go and change my stoma. I've got to go and sort the leak out. I've got to go and do this. I've got to go and do that. And I think it sort of helped when I was in hospital as well, because it just put a name to the thing that was on me, that was happening to me whilst I was in hospital, while she was away from me for a week. So I think that's why I done it. And to be honest, Bertha, I think I'm the only one that's had come up with that name. So yay!
Whenever you say Bertha, I literally think of an old lady I used to look after who would have beaten the crap out of anybody that went anywhere near her, looked at her the wrong way, anything. So and the amount of issues you have with your stoma, it's like Bertha does fit pretty well. But sorry, Rachel, I completely butted in with you then.
That's okay, don't worry. I so a few funny ones that I had from was you wee bastard. I like that, you wee bast, and then Pee Wee the pisser was quite funny.
That was really funny, yeah.
Yeah, that made me laugh. And then it was bog off, buy one get one free, because they had 2 bags. And then another one, the Tesco value bag for life. There was just loads. Like the Ostomy awareness group were proper on it. I think there was 120 comments, or like all talking about the bags. But it was good having a mixture as well.
Can I point out across the board, Winnie and Stella went hands down.
Yeah, and Squirt as well.
And Stanley. Out of the blokes' name, Stanley. So
Stanley. Mine's Stanley.
Oh.
I mean, because what was one of the other ones? Pui Vuitton. I think one of my all-time favourites. I'm sorry, but the one that was on somebody, DJ Bad Boy on Instagram had put Kanye West has produced so much shit. I'm sorry, but when you put that down, that had me in hysterics for a good 15 minutes. If you ever off, I won't be ever off. I'm laughing.
Stephen thought that was hilarious. Pooey Louie was another funny one.
Oh, I saw that one earlier. I like Sylvester Stallone.
That's good.
That's a good one.
Oh, what was the other one?
Shitty Bam Bam was quite funny.
Johnson. That was a good one. Whoever done that was obviously American.
See, I just got South Park when I had to write that one down.
You did what?
I just got a South Park episode, and when I read it out to Stephen, he was like, "Oh yeah," but I can't remember the exact episode, so it'd be pointless me going into it. But any South Park fans would totally understand.
Rosie was quite popular as well with Ostomy. It's like Winnie and Rosie, or Rosebud. I think because it looks like
a rose. I think that's why that's.
Yeah.
Did anyone else notice that the actual people names tended to be more elderly or older names? Should I say older names? Because a lot of older names I couldn't make it come back. It's not just, it's a bit rude saying it's an elderly name thing, because But
I suppose you don't want to name it after anybody you really know, unless you really hate them.
Yeah, no. The responses, some of the responses from the people across the groups, they've named them after ex-bosses, managers, ex-partners, people they hate.
My name came up twice. There was Stephanie and Stephanie. There was Stevie the Stoma, and I called Stevie. And Stephen was like, "Oh, well, Stevie the Stoma fits quite well, doesn't it?" I'm like, "Shut up." But no, there was some really, really good ones. Like, there was Barnacle Bill. I think that was a Ostomy one. That was really funny.
Yeah.
I was sat on the beach writing that one out, giggling to myself because I was like, I'm on the beach.
No, we have to say thank you to everybody that replied this week, because you gave us a good couple of hours of entertainment, because I went through and collected all the information from mine and then sent it to Steffi. No, I didn't put it in alphabetical order because she said she'd do that.
How did I?
Neither did Rachel.
Never again.
Like about 100 as well. I had loads.
I did, because I think I'd give you about 180, didn't I, Steph?
I had 2 emails worth from you. And then I had a 2-page Word document from Rachel.
Another one, was it Stoma Stella? That was one. Stevie Stoma. Homer was another one.
Yeah.
Homer the Stoma.
The other what I found really interesting, which I didn't kind of realise, is quite a few people have named their bags. I was with a friend today down the beach, another osteomate, and he's named his after Stevie, after his little brother that died, and then there's somebody else in the ostomy that named Mena after their mum, and it's quite nice knowing that they'll always be with them. And I quite like that. Like, it's different to like you said, with people that hate each other. Like, if you hate somebody, you're naming it out of bosses or ex-partners, and it's quite nice. I thought that was quite
positive.
Yeah, it was.
It
was.
I liked. I think it must have been a lady in of the Ostomy list who named hers Willie because her grandson told people it was a Willie. And I was reading it out to Stephen, because Stephen kept on kind of like glancing at me while I was making sandcastles, and I'm like giggling away. And he was like, "Well, it makes sense." And I'm like, "Well, it does. That's really." There was a lot of them that I think were named by their grandkids, wasn't it? And that was quite cute.
It was fine until then he was the little grandson was telling in nursery, saying my grandma's got a Willie. That wasn't too great until I said that bit.
Well, I think the other one was as well as I found on the Ostomy and J Pouch Mum's one, the responses from there, that a lot of them, it had been their children that had named them, or their grandchildren that had come up with the names, or even the parents to help them sort of deal with what was going on. But I mean, each to their own. Some people don't name them, so other people do, but I don't know whether that's just because that's the advice that is given by the stoma nurse to help you.
I wasn't even given that advice. It was when I joined some of the groups before my surgery that I noticed people started naming them. So I was like, what the hell are you on about? What are you talking about? And I just thought, well, I suppose if it's going to work for you, you do it. If it's not, you don't. Because you've got to find your own way to adjust your life to the stoma, because it's not always easy, I mean, your first leak can be horrific. And the first time you change your bag yourself, that was my main issue. I didn't like changing my bag myself. But
Can we do a shout out to Daniel as well and say well done, because I believe they're discharging him from hospital tomorrow, and he named his George, and he was in last week for his surgery, wasn't he? He's doing ever so well.
And wish well to Val if Val is still in,
watching.
because Val is one of our diehard fans.
And we're hoping
I'm
hoping they sorted the DVT out, because I believe that's what they suspected.
And good luck for Martin with whatever they're deciding they're going to do with his health tomorrow. He's had a lot. I mean, he's a little bugger and he knows he is, so it doesn't matter that I'm saying that, because he knows he is. But he's had a lot of crap recently from a lot of people that is unnecessary when you're really, really sick. And it's always some nasty little cow bag, in my opinion. And I won't name her because it's not fair, but good luck with that, and I'll be eating imaginary popcorn whilst reading my posts later on. But, you know, let me know how it goes tomorrow, Martin.
And who's the other one? I think the other one that was in hospital at the moment was Paige, wasn't it?
Yeah, she's just become part of the Barbie book crew, I think.
If you're watching, hi, we hope to get well soon.
And to BMAC on Instagram, good luck with your damn trip to New York City with your newborn baby, because that is, I'd love to go to New York. And I'm jealous, so part of me hates you. But, you know, have a great time. But, yeah. Well, so I got an absolute butt ton of stuff from the Colostomy Association. Lovely Giovanni.
We had a Chloe colostomy, so if you're watching, we've got...
Yeah, we did.
We have 3 leaflets.
We obviously, none of us have a colostomy, but obviously you are a huge part of the community and you need to be represented. So I got hold of Giovanni about focus groups that he's running or hoping to run in the future, which are all, I think, on the Colostomy Association Facebook page and Twitter and stuff. And for anyone that is part of a support group or runs a support group, I know this was highlighted to me by Shell. Give credit where credit is due is what I believe completely. They're running an active ostomates group, like taster sessions where you can do chair yoga, walking football, walking rugby, whatever your group finds more appropriate. And they've got a load of leaflets on that. And I only got mine today, but I will be having a look through for the Hambleton and Richmondshire Ostomy Support Group, or at least seeing if it's appropriate for us. But the Colostomy Association are full of like loads of information on everything. I mean, literally, I just swear to God, I've got like 20 leaflets on stuff. So
doing it in style.
There's stoma reversal. There's colostomy irrigation. There's rectal discharge after surgery.
Support living with a colostomy. Pain and discomfort in the rectum and perineum after following stoma surgery.
Is there any about sex, just out of interest?
No, I don't think there was.
I saw one the other day that was good. I think it was cancer and sex, actually.
I'm pretty sure Coloplast do a sex one, and there's a good chance Convatec do as well, because the Convatec Me Plus is pretty good. I literally joined all the groups when from all the different bag companies when I got my stoma, because there's no such thing as useless information when you're trying to work out what you're gonna, with your life, really.
No, there isn't any useless information. I mean, for those of you with your stomas and you are wanting to change bags, I put because I've been having issues with output of a nighttime and not sleeping, rather than waste NHS resources with a night bag system, which I think would be wasted on me purely because of my age, for one. I've actually gone to the relevant stoma companies that provide the bags, and I've ordered sample bags of the larger. But you can only order the type of bag that you're currently using. So if you're using a flat bag, you can only order a flat bag. If you're using a convex, you can only order the convex, because they ask you for the serial number for the bag that you're currently using. if you do want that.
Actually, you can damage your stoma and your peristomal skin if you if it's not prescribed. Your stoma nurse has to prescribe it if it's a convex. So all these people in the support groups, try convex, try convex, try convex. Yeah, convex might work for you, but you need your stoma nurse's okay first. But all your doctor, if he knows what he's talking about with stomas, some do, some don't. But I've tried a deep convex before, and I really bruised badly the skin, and I could only wear the one bag. I have to go back to soft.
Steffi, was that like the bruise I've got around mine? Because I've showed a picture of the gills because why do I have this? And I think where my urostomy is very retracted, so I've got I think it's too hard.
I don't know.
Like that.
It's probably too hard.
You said that. I ordered some of the Welland samples, and I said to them that I needed a soft convex and not a hard convex because part of my skin retracts on one side when I lay down. So the soft convex molds with it and pulls down with the skin, whereas the hard convex doesn't. It lifts, and that's where you get the leaks. And the Welland bags are a deep, hard convex, and I'm looking at them and I'm like,
unfortunately, they only seem to do one type of convex. They've got a really fancy moldable flat one that's supposed to literally physically mold with you and move with you. And because when I moved over to Securicare for my deliveries, I asked about it, and they're like, unfortunately, it's in the works for convex, but we haven't got there yet. So. But I found the Welland convex bags, they were all right. It just got to the point where, because they are a harder convex, when my bump grew, they just pushed up like that. So I was getting leaks. But when I'm not pregnant, I'm going to give them another go. Because they're quite a decent sized bag, so they hold quite a lot.
But generally speaking, like my stoma nurse said that they only really advise convex if you have got a retracted stoma, if you're really struggling with the flat bag staying on. But in my case, it's quite, because I actually use a convex for my prolapse, which doesn't really make sense because it pushes out more. But I think because the weight of the prolapse pulls the bag off, if it's flat, I needed to have the convex just to sort of hold it in. But generally speaking, I think the nurses said if it's retracted, that's why, like you just said, like you need to be careful if you're on the groups because it needs to go really through your stoma nurse. Like suggest it, but don't try it until you speak to them.
My first leak was purely because of my stoma had retracted slightly. And I remember dealing with my first leak really well. And then I was waiting in the hospital to see, I don't know, I was getting steam for everything because I was dehydrated and stuff. And I'd leaked all over my dress. I remember my dad came and picked me up and took me to Tesco so I could buy some new clothes because they were just covered because I needed a convex bag. But by the time the stoma nurse came back to me, I'd already been sent down to X-ray, and I was just waiting outside X-ray, and I just thought, oh my God, I've leaked again. And all it was literally I needed a convex bag. But I needed my stoma nurse to say, yes, you need that. That's what they're trained for. You don't always get ones with good bedside manner, but they do still know what they're talking about. They've been trained.
Even though we're advocates, and even though we have information, we still haven't done the training. We still, even though we like to think sometimes that we are experts because it's happening to us, we're not, because we don't have the same training. We're not sort of immersed in that medical setting. And I think it's easy to forget because it's happening to us that we become experts, but we are in a patient way, but actually
we're experts on ourselves.
We're experts on ourselves, and we can impart advice with regards to certain things. It's like when I did my Crohn's fighting post about the stoma bag samples, I did put on there that you have to speak with your stoma nurse. You can only order samples for what you've already been prescribed. They won't do it otherwise. And it's like any of the advice that Steffi gives, any advice that Rachel gives, and any advice that Nat gives. It's all done from a personal perspective, but it's for advice only. We always say if it's serious, you need to see your
GP,
I like
your stoma nurse. My stoma nurses is that they're very honest. If they've not come across something, they'll tell you, and they will go and they will ask around, they will try and find out, and they learn all sorts of tips and tricks from people like us. Because it's like, I mean, like barrier rings, I personally prefer the Hydroseal ones with the Manuka honey, but Natalie doesn't. Natalie likes the barrier, the frames, don't you?
I use the flange extenders, but I was just going to say, I found a new thing. Steve got sent some, Brava have released these protective sheets, they're called, and he was sent them to try them out, so we both decided to do it. And he'd got sent the 20 by 20 sheets, and we cut it into 4, and basically you cut your stoma size out, and it's like a ring, but where I have the problem with the ring is because I find that even the thin ones, they're just too thick. I have a flat bag, and it just sticks out too much, which is why I use the Brava tape flange extenders and just cut them. But it was brilliant. We both found it really, really good. And they've actually brought them out now. I placed my order the other day, and I've actually ordered those now. I've still got flange extenders coming because obviously I still sometimes use them around my bag. But yeah, they're called Brava protective sheets. So if anybody struggles like me with the rings being too thick, these are really thin and really good. I said the only thing I found was it was a bit faffy, a bit fiddly to get the sort of shape cut out, but I think once you start, it's same with me, I really struggled cutting my bags at first. I used to get them cut, and then when you have the slight changes of size, it was a bit of a nightmare, so I went back to cutting, and now I'm fine at doing it. So I think the same with these sheets. Once you get into the habit of doing it, it's going to be really easy.
Stephen used to cut my bags.
Did he?
Yeah, I used to draw out a template, and he used to cut them out. And I remember one of my Stoma nurses, because I have 2, I'm very lucky, and they're both lovely. One of them laughed because Stephen had written like best template on one of them, and I kept that in my like travel Stoma supply kit. And because mine was weird, it was kind of like an eye for a while, and then we realised it was just because my stomach slightly bored out, like I mentioned last week. And we found out if I pulled my stomach up or down, it actually was perfectly round. So it all goes to show, you know, you need to make sure that your stomach's like, some people lay down to do it. I couldn't do that. What are you laughing at, woman?
The kitten's licking my toes. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought they were soaking a bit warm down there. Oh dear. We've got Jamie was having a bit more of a moan than anything, as he said he's sorry, but I know we're covering it next week, but he's recently split up with his ex, and the evil cow bag posted all over Facebook about having sex with him was horrendous because his bag kept looking into her. What would you say to him, apart from the fact that she's a cow bag?
That she needs to slap. Obviously he's not to slap her,
yeah, you can't slap her.
I would slap her.
I've had this
time.
Yeah, exactly what Steffi says. I've actually had that experience, and I've had that come back to me, and it's hard, but I think you need to remember that she isn't worth it. Like, really, she isn't, and like the right person will. I never thought I would meet somebody so accepting as Lawrence, and I have. And I honestly, I've had quite horrific things, and people not understanding, being grossed out when they've burst and all this stuff. And I found the right person in the end. She isn't worth it. Maybe it's like the universe working in mysterious ways. And she obviously wasn't the right one if she thought that.
No, she's not.
I posted a post today of questions that I'd written, probably not that well worded because I wrote them down and didn't check them, but the answers were all from Steve. And I think one of his responses to a question was, the stoma doesn't change the person. If you genuinely had feelings and cared for the person before, it doesn't like make a difference. He doesn't see how me having a stoma is any different. He's just got a healthy wife again. That's and like the right person will be there for you, and I just hope it happens soon for you. To be fair, because you know, stuff all the haters and the bitches, you know. Everyone deserves love. Everyone.
It's like
You
I
know.
said in the body image one, there's always going to be somebody that finds you perfect. It might not be the person that you're with, but
I
it
like that.
might be the future person that you find.
And so hold on to that, because you know, when you go through a breakup, and you know, I had to leave. I was with my ex-fiance for 6 years, and it was quite, I didn't realize how controlling it was. I was so poorly and sick that how controlling he was around me. But when I was told I couldn't have kids, and he still tried and couldn't understand, and because he was Greek and everything, I kind of, when it ended and he cheated on me, and it was kind of, I felt really about hold on to it, like hold on to, like, you are worth it and you will find somebody, and like you've got the support of us, you've got the support of the ostomy community, like, you know, let the haters hate, you know, look what you've got now. It's given your life back, they saved your lives. Yeah, okay, she might not like it, but she might have other issues going on. I'm sure she wasn't that perfect, you know. Just hold on to that, you are worth it. And it's horrible and it hurts and it's easy to get down and go into self-pity, but just don't, you know, you'll get over it. It'll be hard, but in time you'll get there.
You could end up being like Nat and finding someone in the community that has a stoma as well, that knows exactly what you're going through and can appreciate you for you and what you've been through.
I really don't think
they're
it's
like
a big
perfect
deal
couple.
either. We obviously both have bags, and it's not something I notice when we're in bed at all. It really isn't, unless the only time is sort of when the mood takes you and you're sort of not quite so prepared and your bag might be a bit full. I know I lay there thinking, oh my God, lay on the other side a bit. But
No, mine is, hang on a moment, I just need to go sort myself out. I'm back in a minute.
she's getting embarrassed.
I'm going under the
But
table
usually
now.
with me it just happens, and I don't even, it's just I don't even, doesn't even bother me, because mine's full anyway because of the prolapse. So I think, yeah, that's nice to know that though, because sometimes I do think, does the other person, and it's nice to know that you don't.
No, I really just don't, it doesn't cross my mind at all. I don't know, some people might be a bit different, but I don't think at that sort of time when you're with somebody that you love, it matters. So she obviously wasn't the right person, because it wouldn't matter.
It's a good arsehole weeder.
Yeah.
Love that.
I think anybody who uses that against you isn't a nice person, are they?
I mean, I think I come across somebody a while back on one of the Facebook groups, I think it was, and she'd said that she'd been on quite a few dates with a man, and when she turned around and dropped the stoma bag bomb, he turned really nasty and walked out on her and left her, like stranded, like 30 miles from home.
Well,
at least you found out then, and you didn't find out the day before the wedding, I suppose. But blimey, I think it's just, at the end of the day, if anybody does that to you and people say things like that, then they're just not worth the time of day.
They're more insecure about themselves. Like, I mean, they always say that, your parents always say that crap about when, you know, you get picked on by a boy or a girl or whatever, they like you, which obviously now we know you shouldn't say, because it's making domestic violence okay, which isn't. But people that are nasty and bitchy about other people and judgy, issues with themselves than they do you, but they know that you're going to take it harder than, and they're going to make themselves feel better, which is such a sham way of making yourself feel better. It's just, they're going to get the comeuppance somewhere, because, you know, karma is a bitch.
And it has a really good way of going full circle.
Yeah, I think as well, I remember me and my ex were going through a lot of problems at the time, and I remember thinking, oh, maybe I should look at it from his point of view. And I looked at a lot of sort of articles and stuff written about being with somebody that's chronically ill and how it is for the other person. And obviously now I'm with somebody that's chronically ill like me, and it's awful, it's hard, and it's horrible in its own ways. But I think if they admit that and they say it is hard, I can either cope with it. I'm coping with it at the moment with Steve. He's totally worth it. But if somebody said, look, I can't deal with this, because it is hard, it really is, if they were honest and open and admitted it in a nice way, fair enough. But to go and do sort of the mean things that people do is just shows what kind of person they are, I think.
I think also it's like let's get it right. If you want to hurt somebody, the easiest thing to say is to talk about our stomas, because you know we although we are accepting and we are trying to we are accepting and we are loving our back. There's always going to be a part where we have issues with it, and I think it's the easiest thing to use. Like one of my mates at the moment, he's just gone through a split up and she's used the exact same thing as what you just described, and I think it is easy to say that to hurt the person. They know it's going to hurt deep.
Yeah,
it's not, doesn't make it right, but I think it is an easy way to hurt you, because we all have positive and negatives with our bags. As much as we know they saved our lives, it is to be 100% accepted. I think is quite a big ask to say. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is not stoop to that level either. Which, when I think back of like my past, I'm probably a hypocrite with that, because I used to be the first person to put everything everywhere and kick off and make a big fuss, but I'd never do it privately. I was always very open about it, which probably did not work in my favour. But anyway, I'm not, I've got older than that now, but retaliating like that, not saying that you have, but if you were like kicked off and pulled out her insecurities, you look like the bad guy instantly, whether you're the victim or not. And also, if it's same sex or whatever, don't hit them, because I'm probably the most high progressive person I know, other than my sister. But I would, if I was in that position, I'd probably freak out and punch someone or punch something, and obviously isn't the way to go.
Honestly say the last 2 breakups that I've had, I have been the quietest, most discreet person you've ever met in your life. Not said a word, not said nothing, risen above it. And some of the stuff that's been said, and then I leave it and I wait for it to all go quiet, and then they'll message me to ask me how I am, and then that's when I let loose.
I know.
But I don't do it publicly. It's always dealt with discreetly and privately.
That smile's quite freaky. You scared me then. That smile, you do have one of those smiles like,
there's a reason why Steffi calls me what she calls me.
I have a nickname from a couple of my very close friends and Stephen, that I'm a polar bear because I'm aggressive and I think I'm always cold. Although, I think polar bears just live in a cold environment, not that they're actually cold. But Louise is a honey badger, because she's fine until you poke her. She is a honey badger, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be like, aren't they like part of the top 10 deadliest like animals in as well or something?
Yeah, I'm very passive and I'm very laid back and I'm very calm, but poke and prod me enough, and I do go 50 shades of. But the thing is, the problem is with me is I can be so elocuted when I'm angry. I have to Google what I said.
Oh no, I go downhill. I sound like the most stupid person ever when I get annoyed and angry.
I can say swear words in the Oxford Dictionary that don't even sound like swear words. Oh dear.
So the audience, did you see our clip that we did of our kiddies earlier? I'm not sure if we posted it all over. I think Louise posted it yesterday, didn't you?
I put it up last night. It's been shared everywhere today. The kids are more popular than us. Check them out. They're getting right on our cases, wanting to know how many views have been had and what's been done.
That's why I'm glad I have a 3-year-old.
People liked it. So I've blocked and made sure Maisie's only got kiddies YouTube, so she can't get nowhere near it, just in case she decides to get elevations above her station.
What did the boys say, Nat?
Riley just enjoyed it. I showed him this morning, and he thought it was really cool. He was just a bit like, oh, I don't think he quite understood it. And he was like, I'm watching myself. And Leo made me laugh because obviously it'd only been posted last night, and we watched it quite early this morning. And then he said to me, "Oh, it's like, well, your show's only got 6 views, and he's got a YouTube channel. He did a few videos on Minecraft and stuff that he posted up, him building stuff." And he's like, "Well, I've got more than that on my videos." I was like, "Oh, really?" So I haven't updated him yet to tell him there's now over 100 on there, but I will tell him in the morning and see what he says.
Yeah, don't tell him. Save it for next week. Wait for the numbers to go up a little bit more and then tell him and watch his face go.
Oh, no. Wait and tell him until the bloopers have taken.
Yeah. I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, we are running up the bloopers of the kids next week, but that video is going to be longer than what we managed to edit out from what they originally said, because we have nose picking, we have mums that you can actually physically see them ripping the fingers out of the nose across screen.
It was terrible.
We've got bag burping. Rara was ever so cute because she just likes to say no a lot.
No, I don't actually know. I mean, when I was a kid, I think one of my favourite words was actually, but I used to sound really snotty and like a douche when I used to say it, I think. But cause I used to drive my parents insane. But like Larry Beth, I wouldn't care. I asked her certain questions beforehand just because I was curious. I did it a couple of hours beforehand so that it wasn't like I was prepping her, because she's 3. She remembers what the hell she wants to. And on the fact she was telling everyone when we went out for a walk all about Stomas, she didn't know what one was when we did the video. She didn't know what it did. Apparently it poops up my back and in my eye. I'm like, you know better than that. And like, she wasn't looking, and I wish I was looking at the screen, because then I'd have moved the camera across, because, you know, she's my kid and I think she's gorgeous. But I was like, I had to have Stephen sat behind my laptop, and every so often it's like, look at daddy, where's daddy, look at daddy, and she's like, daddy.
I mean, if you go onto the IBD and Ostomy support show page, there are other parents. So you've got Nick Dames and some of the other parents.
Oh, hers was amazing.
That was brilliant.
And some of them are actually putting up VTs of their kids, asking them the same questions that we've asked, and they are quite amusing. So have a look, because they are on there. I think they're actually on the event page, aren't they, and not the actual. It's on the event link that we put up at the top of the page.
Well, Molly shamed me, because when I said what's good or bad about the stoma, she just went, "When you hear it, it stinks," and it's like, oh god, and it's like, we
don't actually do that.
You can tell though that she's 10. You can tell she was the older one, and because the older ones are much more aware, and it was like Maisie looked like she was terrified of saying anything in case Mummy went. She was just saying, like, because you're like, it's all right, you can say what comes out, it's okay, you're allowed to say it today. And she was just like,
it's the way she thought for ages and then was like, waste. My boys were like, poo.
Yeah, Rara was like,
well, no, you see, I had issues with Maisie because she goes to her daddy's. Maisie doesn't say pussy, she says shit. And I barred her from saying shit because she's not allowed to say that word.
Wow.
And obviously I was trying to say you could say poo, but I couldn't, but then I thought Ben was going to edit it out, and it wasn't edited out, and you could hear what I was saying. So yeah, Maisie just said waste. I did think that was funny, because she did sit there and you could see her brain
like ticking
and going, nah, waste.
Sorry, Rara told me this morning that she has a stoma and it's practically on her hip, like, you know, like her waist bit here. This is where my stoma is. I'm like, Rara, tell daddy where your stoma is. I was like, because, you know, you don't have one. I do. It's here. I'm like, okay.
Oh, well, I had Riley. It was a few months ago now, but he just had a tummy bug. He'd been up in the night and been sick, and the next day he's like, Mummy. He's like, I need a stoma to make my tummy better now. I was just like, oh.
Well, you guys have because with all of you, have you all had your kids before you had your? Did they see you really poorly before the stomas? I can't remember. No, yours didn't, Louise, because you were the same.
No, Maisie has. I've been in and out. Yeah, I've been in and out of hospital a lot with Maisie. It's why Maisie gets so neurotic when I'm due to go into hospital.
Okay.
I was in 2012, and I had my resection done. Maisie was old enough to know that then, because she was 2, 3.
Okay.
Can't remember now. Yeah, she was coming up to 3 when I had that done. Just after her 3rd birthday, I was in hospital again for 3 weeks because I had stitches that were left in that had caused abscesses to move up from the wound bed up to the skin, which I had to have opened up. I've been in hospital with acute renal failure once since then, since having her as well. So yeah, Maisie gets a bit neurotic when I go up to hospital because she always thinks I've got to get kicked in.
I get that's what I think. That's what I'm noticing with Molly. It's like I've only been with Lawrence for coming up to 6 months, and I've been in hospital now 4 admissions. She's seen me, and I'm realizing it is quite hard. Like, it must be harder for you guys, but it is hard. Like, she gets very like wanting to call me all the time, check I'm okay, and it's quite hard. I didn't realize.
I think
that'd be harder. I think it would be harder if Rara wasn't mine and she was going through that, because I mean, I know you've spoken of before about having guilt over the fact that they know you're sick and everything, and like in Lawrence's post as well, he talks about how Molly knows everything that's going on, and I don't know. I mean, I know Lawrence is a dad, and like, if you weren't to be here, she would still have him, and like obviously, Rara would have Stephen, which I think she'd be more than happy with. To be fair, let's face it, she's a daddy's shadow, not a daddy's girl. But I don't know. I think I'd find it much harder in your position.
I think it's
even though she's going home to her dad, you know, I think it'd still be hard.
I think it's like because, like, you know, without going into too much detail, Molly has been through a hell of a lot. That's why she lives with Lawrence. But I think it's like now, like, you girls have helped me get over the acceptance of accepting that I'm, you know, maybe won't have as long a life as most people, and accepting that actually I'm not harming her. I went through a stage where I nearly ended it with Lawrence because I just thought the guilt was too much, because I thought I'm letting this girl get close to me and then could possibly not be here. And it's like, but I've learned, and like by you guys talking about your children and seeing how you guys are, it sort of helps. But I don't know what I'm doing. I never like discipline. I'm rubbish because I just not used to it.
Even when you're on, you don't know what you're doing.
No, I was a nursery nurse for years before I had the kids, and there's all I'd never do that with my children, and I'd never let them do that. And then you have your own, and it's like, completely different.
The amount of people that that don't have children, that judge people that have children, or children in their lives, so like step parents or partners that have kids and stuff, that they're not quite there at the, you know, you're going to be stepmom, stepdad sort of thing. Like, so many people judge you. I got judged so much when I had Rara that I was talking to my mother-in-law the other week, and I was like, I'm just going to tell people when they sit there and say, you know, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you know, I'm like, I was like, I will. And she was like, well, too right. She's got 4 boys. My mum's got 3. Like, somebody always thinks that they're better with you. And I got in an argument actually on Twitter with somebody because they were like, well, people that don't have children have very valid points. I'm like, if they think they have a valid point, then I have a valid point of telling them that they're wrong. Because they don't have children, don't know what it's like. Exactly. They don't know how it is. Even exactly, just like you being a stepmom, at the end of the day, you care for that child, you love that child, you give her attention. You know, you are the closest thing to a mum, full-time mum in her life. You know, and it's amazing. A lot of people really struggle with that attachment for other people's kids.
I think it was really nice the other day where she's just started walking to school on her own. She's got a phone, and she called me and she said to a friend, oh, do you want to speak to my stepmom? And that's the first time she's ever called me that, because we've struggled what I am, because I struggled the terminology, so I was daddy's girlfriend. And it was really nice, and it was just like, yeah, it was a really nice moment. She did it again today, showing everybody the YouTube, saying, this is my stepmom, she's got a stoma bag, and oh god, anonymity blown out the window. But yeah, it's nice.
Kids slip up though. Maisie does it with Ben. There's been once or twice that she's turned around and not even thought about it and gone, daddy, or no, daddy. Yeah, no, daddy. No, you have a daddy. You guys do daddy have one weekend. You don't call him daddy.
Mm.
But that's just, I think that's just me. I'm weird.
But he is essentially, because I know it took, I don't know if it was him or you that told me, to be honest, but I know it took you a long time, because you were like, well, you know, she's got a dad, I'm a single mum, and this, you know, I do this Maisie is mine, I will not force Maisie on anybody, blah blah blah. And I'm sure Nat's the same with the boys. Not that I think Steve would care, because Steve's very much a hands-on kind of person with everyone.
Yeah.
But like, it's got to be hard letting people in to your child's life.
I find myself
it is for the child.
Yeah, I find myself thanking Steve for stuff, and he's like, "Why are you saying thank you?" Like the other day, he got up with the kid. He always gets up quite early because he has to do his morning meds, like bang on, well, sort of bang on quite early. And I woke up, and do you know when you sort of like, there was nobody in the room, and I looked at my phone and it was gone 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh crap, where are the kids? Where's Steve? Like, what's going on? Went downstairs and he'd got them dressed, he'd given them breakfast, he'd been playing, and I was just like, thank you. And he's like, why are you saying thank you? He's like, you needed your sleep. He's like, I was up, the kids woke up, so I brought them down. But I was like, I've never experienced that. Like, I don't want to go into my ex and all that too much, but it was just something that was never ever done for me. And I was just like, but he's very much of the what's it of, why are you saying thank you? Like, just, but I think because they're my kids, I sort of think, I don't know.
Lawrence does that a lot, Natalie. You're right. Lawrence does that a lot. Like he'll say thank you to me, and like I'll be like, well, or he'll ask me something. I'll be like, why are you asking my permission? Like, yeah, I get that as well.
Mm.
I mean, I say thank you to Stephen all the time. Like I'll have been left to have a lie in. He's like, well, you've not been very well, and I'm like, well, so I don't know why you're thanking me. You know, you could tidy up. That would be a better thank you or something, because he's OCD with cleaning, and I'm lazy, so lazy. But
I say thank you to Ben all the time, but he's just weird. I've never dated anybody like him.
Ben just gets up and does it. From everything like
housework.
I've spoken to him, he just does it.
He does housework. He goes out and buys things for Maisie and doesn't even think about it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Lawrence very domesticated, because I suppose he has to be because he's a single dad, but Lawrence is very domesticated, and I was really shocked by it, and I think that was what part of the attraction.
Somebody was saying the other week, I can't remember whether it was on the show or after the show, but somebody turned around and said about dirty boxes on the floor or something. And I did actually tell her to say to Ben, I said, Ben, I said, I'm glad you put yours in the wash. I said, because you left me down the side of the bed or on the floor. I said, I'd be twitching. I said, I'd be having issues. But no, they are all good with the kids, and I think children are so much more resilient and so much more realistic in their approach to life than what adults are nowadays, because everything's so filtered.
Yeah,
I love the fact that Rara doesn't think I'm special because I have it.
Well, Maisie was exactly the same, wasn't she? Do you think Mummy's special? No, but she's my mummy, and I love her.
That was lovely.
Creep.
I think that's really nice to that Rara and Maisie both. It's like that's nice because it's like they're normal, isn't it?
Mm.
I guess, and that's quite refreshing.
There was one where there was one of the edits out where we was asking about the being disabled or the use of disabled, and that will crop in. But I believe one of Maisie's was, "Mummy has a key for the toilet."
I like that.
Yeah, Rara gets more benefit from the keys to the toilets than I do. So, but with regards to next week, I know obviously Louise is going to tell what the main roll call is, but I would very much like people to join in with the Ostomy Love for June, because it doesn't matter where you are in how long you've had your stoma, whether you've adjusted or not. I think it's worth giving yourself that time and appreciating you and what you've gone through, and those around you as well. Because if you're stressed, they'll be stressed. Rachel?
No, that's very true. I will be doing it because I'll be getting my ass kicked if I don't do it. So
it's just a photo. Literally, that's it. It's a photo.
No, the June is a really good concept, because I think there's a lot of us that do too much, that don't take enough time out to be oneself. It's half the reason why I started the walking. It's my time now. It's the same as Nat's trying new foods and trying bits and pieces. It's her time, and it's like Steffi has her time. But Steffi, what do you do with your time? Because you're very forceful with us, but sometimes we don't quite know what you're doing.
I binge watch Criminal Minds.
There we go. I was waiting for her to admit that because I couldn't say that live. Rachel,
Read is life.
And Rachel, you've got to take time out as well, lovely. You can't do as much as what you're doing.
I realised like today I had a few people want me to visit them and they're quite far away, and it's like I forget, like I can't really. I think I'm okay, but I can't. And with the kidneys, I have to be careful. So yeah, you guys are helping me learn that slowly. But I'll be watching Boardwalk Empire. Love that TV series again. Isn't it amazing? I love that era as well. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a whiteboard. Riley's he's being tested for autism, and his big thing at the moment is the calendar and dates and what his plan of the week. Obviously, routine is often quite a big thing. His routine, what he's doing for the week. So we have this whiteboard which has every day on it, and we just write on the things that we need to remember. So the days they've got PE, so they need to take their trainers in. My appointments and stuff go on there, and it's actually really good for me to be able to sort of plan my week as well, because I can like this week. I know I cancelled my eye appointment the other day. Luckily, my eyes aren't too bad at the moment, so it wasn't a big deal. I've got rheumatology tomorrow, but I try and make sure that I've got some days where I've not planned anything, because I may well have to do something, but I know those days I can just literally sit at home and veg out if I need to while the kids are at school at least. And I think that's quite a good visual thing for me.
Yay!
To plan that time.
You do need to plan the time.
That's
Everybody needs to plan the time.
Seeing it spread out, that's a really good idea. I might do that.
Okay, well, we're going to have to roll up for this evening. Now, I've got a chap on here. I'm not too sure if you're aware of him, Steffi, or Nat, because you two are on more groups across the board than I am. But is it David? He runs a single stoma group. Dating group.
Oh, cool.
I might have met him.
David McCallum.
Yeah. I think I met him at Get Your Belly Out, but I do know of him from the groups.
And he's an admin on a site called Singles with Stomas. So what we will do is obviously we will mention that next week in the show, because next week we are rolling out. Do you find, or have you found, dating and relationships more difficult with IBD since your diagnosis with IBD or having a stoma?
It would be nice to know which as well.
It would be which with it's your diagnosis, or sorry, Steffi, or the stoma,
or both. You know,
or both. I think we've put on there easy, hard,
no change.
Oh, I don't know.
Or I don't know. And we would love to hear your stories and know, because we'd like to post them up for people to do a comparison. So the good and the bad, you know, we have to do it from both sides. So we would love to hear that. I think we're also briefly covering tattoos. Guess we all like to talk about those.
Stephanie and Louise and that.
Mine's all planned. I've just got to save my pennies now to get mine done.
Yeah, okay. So
my best friend's a tattoo apprentice, so boom.
Oh, really?
Boom. Okay, right. So we're all gonna have to say bye for tonight because I'm missing the trial. So
yeah, it's the final tonight.
Yeah, we find out whether he's guilty or innocent. Anyway, we're gonna go. So we're all gonna say night. So we say bye. Say bye. See you next week.